Recording. Okay, Andy Fenichel, it's so nice to meet. It's so nice to see you. We've met before,
Yeah.
but it's nice to be back here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Samantha, are you talking? Huh. Okay. There we go. Sorry, the Zoomy went crazy. All I had was just with Samantha, which is fine.
No,
Anyhow. Yeah, okay. Yes. So welcome to our weekly book club. It's really great to see you. I'm sorry that we're not meeting in person in November, but you know, there's always 2021. But before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that this is recorded. So if you want to ask a question, we will have a Q&A period after the official interview, because Andy has graciously agreed to stay for a few minutes after and ask and answer questions, you know, the secret questions, the stealthy questions. I love that word, stealthy. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting. So Andy, you go by A.S. Fenichel. And how did you get started as an author? And did you have a different career prior to becoming an author?
I did. I had several careers along the way. I worked as a customer service and logistics manager for an international importer for a long time. And then they implemented SAP, which is software program. And I became the lead on that. And then when they moved their operation overseas, I got a job as a software specialist for Hugo Boss in Manhattan. And I did that for a few years. And then my husband was retiring after 30 years of police work. And he wanted to move away from New Jersey. So I said, okay, but I want to really give this writing gig a go. So instead of getting another job, I started writing full time and submitting full time and getting rejected full time. It took a few years, but then I finally got published.
So how many books do you have out now?
24. No, it'll be 24 in January.
So that it's really it's working out for you.
Yeah, it's been okay. It's been okay.
So if you 24 books is a lot. So is this like in 5 years, 6 years, or
my first
book that
book
old?
published in 2011. So it's 9 years.
Yeah. That's still more than one a year.
Yeah. There's a lot of books before that never saw the light of day. So it takes patience.
It does. It takes practice, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So how would a typical day for you work as a full-time writer?
I get up pretty early. I'm not really a morning person, but I still get up early. I just am not pleasant. So Dave doesn't talk to me until I've had a couple of cups of coffee. I'm nice to the cats, but not to humans. And then I do yoga. I go for a walk. And then I sit down at the computer, answer emails, do social media stuff. And then usually once all of that is out of my headspace, then I get to writing or editing or whatever is on my to-do list. I'm very planner oriented. I have several for different things. Social media is in a planner. My day-to-day business stuff is in a planner. Everything is in a physical written planner.
Okay, so I was going to ask, is it digital or is it physical?
I like to write it down.
Yeah. Do you use stickers and colored pens?
I sometimes use stickers. I'm not great about remembering to use the stickers. Let's see. So this week had a few stickers, and you guys are highlighted down here. So not too many stickers. I had 2 birthdays this week for family and friends, so I have a big birthday sticker because I didn't want to forget anybody. But Yeah, I'm not a huge sticker person. I want to be better at it because I see all these fantastic stickers,
Mhm.
and I have tons of them, but I always forget to put them in.
Yeah, it always surprises me when people get into the planner mode and they invest in all these stickers and
Washi tape and
yeah, and I mean, when I sit down and watch Gwen prepare her week on her journal, it's like it takes her half of a day to plan her week by putting the stickers and the colored pens, and she has to write the little lines. And if the right colored pen is not available, I mean, it's horrifying. It really is.
oh, me and Gwen are going to have a long talk next time I see her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got all the colored pens here. So if she
Yeah,
comes to visit,
I do
you can
too.
use the colored pens.
Here are mine.
Yeah.
I use them not so much in my business one, but that's my everyday work, but in my social media one, I'll use the colored pens more because different social media I color code to make sure I've not forgotten anything.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to talk to you later about the social media journal. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We're just, okay. Um, so, 2020 has been a very challenging year for everybody.
Mm.
And I think as a full-time author, you probably did a lot of working in your house. So it may not be too different. I don't know if you were a go to the coffee shop writer or whatever, but how has the pandemic changed your daily writing routine?
It really hasn't. It added a lot of stress to my life, just like it added stress to everyone's life. I'm pretty paranoid about the COVID. Better now than I was maybe a few months ago. I actually lost my agent just at the beginning of this, which added to the stress. But
Mm,
but I've decided I don't need one right now. There's enough stress not having to submit to another agent. But my day-to-day work was always at home. I'm pretty hermity. A lot of writers are pretty hermity. We like our solitude, and we are not as social as we probably should be, which is why, going to the conferences and the um, different events was always great because it kind of broke us out of our little bubbles. But yeah, it hasn't really changed my day-to-day life. I used to, for a long time, I was picking up my groceries, but now I go in with my mask and I'm okay with it. There are a
yeah.
lot of other people who have it much worse, so I can't complain.
Well, you can complain. It's not a smart thing to do, probably.
No, it's not.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's the thing that I really miss. I didn't realize how much I miss traveling. Because I always sometimes felt that traveling was a burden. And then all it takes is 4 months without traveling. And I'm like, I want to go on a road trip. We could go to Oklahoma. We could
Yeah.
just drive to Oklahoma, touch it, and come back again. And I would be happy. But
It's not too far.
it's not that far, but it's close. It's the closest state to where I live in
Mhm.
Texas. Because I actually compared if we drove to Oklahoma and just, had a snack or something, get gas, or we could go to Louisiana and come back. That would be the same. It would feel the same. But if I went to Louisiana, I'd want to go all the way down to New Orleans and have a beignet. Well, okay, Baton Rouge, but that's still
That's a
like
long drive.
it's a long drive. So it's very sad, actually.
It is.
It is. So what make you write historicals right now? The books that are out are historicals. They're Regencies, actually. And so how what made you pick that genre and how do you research it?
I loved, I still love reading Regency. I mean, I read a lot of things, but I love reading Regency. I feel like I was brought up on Jude Devereux and Judith McNaught. And then when I was a little older, Eloisa James. So I just love it. But that's not what I wrote at first. I wrote paranormal erotic. romance, and I loved writing that too. But it didn't sell. So eventually I just kind of, I don't know, morphed into writing a couple of short historicals that were super sweet. And then I had the idea for the Demon Hunter series, and that was like a merge of my paranormal love and my historical Regency love. Thank you, Samantha. and and they didn't really sell. I mean, there were supposed to be 7 books in that series. There was only ever 3 books got published because they didn't do well. And I don't think it's because of the books, because I think the books are a lot of fun. Maybe it was just when they hit the market, who knows. But when the publisher didn't want more of those, I had an idea for a series that actually stemmed from, I lost my first husband. He passed away like 18 years ago. And I had a story that was kind of my catharsis for that experience. And years had gone by, and I never wrote the story, but it still was with me. And even then, when I pitched the series to Kensington, I still wasn't ready, and this is 10 years later, I still wasn't ready to write that story. So I made it book 4 in the, gosh, my brain just went fuzzy. The Forever Bride series. I made it book 4. Kensington bought 3 books. So, so book 4 never got written, and it ended up being book 1 of the Everton Domestic Society. And then I just love writing them, and how I research them. Well, I've read hundreds and hundreds of Regency romances, and like a lot of my books have spies in them. It's funny that you were talking about spies earlier. So I do a lot of research on spies that existed during the Napoleonic Wars. And in Misleading the Duke, there's actually real spies, and they didn't do the things that they do in the book, but they really existed. And so they were so fascinating. I put the real spies' names in the book.
I noticed that because I had to go to Wikipedia to look them up. I'm like, I have read about these people before.
Yeah,
They might be
Bruce is
real.
pretty famous.
Yeah.
He's a pretty horrible person, but he's pretty famous.
Yeah. So how did you do your research? So did you like stumble across the famous ones, or the ones that you can get, or how did you research those, the spies, the actual living spies? Well, they're dead now, but they were living then.
I started, Googling Napoleonic War espionage, and those names, especially Fouche's, kept coming up. I have a couple of books also that have details, and then Fouche was a politician too, so his name comes up all over the place, having nothing to do with espionage. But he voted in politics and everything. He really inserted himself into the English government. So I just did a lot of reading and a lot of Googling, and went down thousands of different rabbit holes, and those 3 were the most fascinating to me. I really liked Carl because he was a spy for Austria, but then also for the Holy Roman Empire, and then even in France. So he ended up selling like tobacco or something on the streets of St. Petersburg, I think, because he was,
he was all over the place.
Nobody wants the spies anymore.
Yeah. So that's a fascinating way that It's nice to know that you like spies. Nice, nice. That you put them in your novels and things. I think that period of time, and tell me how you feel about that period of time, was there were so many changes in warfare and in the different nationalities and stuff, and how they were so afraid of Napoleon, but they also wanted to get the best for themselves, and the Holy Roman Empire was falling apart, and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire was getting big, and the Russia came over, and England, So, so what is it that was, what really appealed to you from that kind of period besides the spies, or was it mostly the spies?
No, it's not mostly the spies. That was a fun interlude, and I may do a bit more with that for my next series. I haven't decided yet, but it is the rules. I love all the rules for dancing, for romance, for letter writing. I just love them, and I love to break them. I love to find clever ways to break those rules where readers aren't writing me saying, how could you break this rule? I want them to say, oh, look, she broke that rule. So that to me is the most appealing thing.
Okay. So this is book 2 in the Wallflowers of West Lane.
Yes.
Tell us about the Wallflowers.
So the Wallflowers are 4 women who, at the tender age of 15, were shipped off for various reasons to a girls' finishing school in Switzerland, which is pretty unusual for the time. I mean, girls did go to school, but not usually out of country. So I couldn't find any evidence that there were girls' English finishing schools in Switzerland. So that is completely made up. But they get sent away for bad behavior for the most part, because they're disobedient and they have no interest in marriage, and their parents are kind of jerks. And so they get shipped off to this finishing school, and the only redeeming thing about it is that they meet each other on the way, and they form a very tight friendship. And I always feel like Regency romance, there are a lot of male friendships because they all go to Eton or whatever school they go to. Mary Jo Putney has a great series where they go to some made up school that she had that, is for misbehaving boys. But they all go away to school at 7 years old, and they form these tight bonds. And I wanted that for women, because women form incredibly strong friendships, and that's rarely shown in Regency. So when they come back 3 years later, the first of them is married off, and she's abused, and that's not in the books. The first book starts at the funeral of her husband, and we find out that Faith, who's actually the heroine in Misleading the Duke, is about to be married off to someone they've never met. And they make a vow to make sure that none of them are ever put in the position where they're marrying a monster again. So Poppy, who is the heroine and not
The Earl.
Here we go.
Earl not taken.
Earl not taken. Poppy is going to investigate the Duke that Faith is going to marry, and Reese, who's the brother of one of the girls, is going to help her. And so the first book is their story, and then the second book we get back to Faith's story and the Duke, who they've investigated, and he turns out to be a spy, and he's not that keen on having been investigated.
No. And I love the test that they come up with to get Lady Faith to discover if Nicholas or the Duke is worthy or not.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you came up with that test? And I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but it was I quite enjoyed it.
So they have to be kind to servants and animals. I think that's it, right? Is there anything else?
No, they have to be kind to servants and animals, and they have to do it in a stressful situation.
Oh, yeah, because it's not enough to be kind when everything is
No.
okay. We
Yes.
can all be kind when life is good. It's hard to be kind. It's harder to be kind when your life is falling apart. So
Yes.
that's their litmus test for a good man.
Yes. And so they pick up a puppy
Yeah.
who is a misbehaving puppy, and all I could think of, ladies, is my Bonnie. Okay. You got to be able to figure out Bonnie. And then they got the servants that they took with them to the castle or whatever were I wouldn't say inefficient as much as very young and untrained, shall we say?
They were in over their heads for certain.
Yes, yes. And so it's so as the test went on, as the situation, and then they throw in, then there's a surprise there when they get there. And so that part you're going to have to read. But that was very fascinating. I thought you did a great job on creating the test.
Thank you. Thank you. How did I come up with it? I don't know, because I think that that's true. I think being nice, I mean, I obviously don't have any servants, but being nice to the checkout girl at the grocery when your day has been really bad is a test of character. Or the nurse at the doctor's office, or the cat and the dog when the cats are both fighting in the bedroom and your day is bad. It's a test of character. And that's what I wanted for him, a test of character.
Yeah, and I really liked that. I enjoyed reading that, and I was snickering, and I was like, oh, because he saw the puppy and he's like, oh, what a cute puppy, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna get bad. It could get a lot first. And okay, so the cover has a puppy on the cover, I think. So do you like having is this your first pet book? I'm not sure.
I think it is. I don't think I've ever had I think there was a kitten someplace, but they weren't in the book that much. I think there was a kitten in Desperate Bride, but I don't think it played as big a part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
Rumpus.
Rumple plays a big part.
Yes, he has more than one scene, guys. More than one scene. It's not just a toss away there. So that was a great thing. So you talked a little bit. You've touched on it. You've written the 24 books, and they're not all historicals. There are different genres. But what is the challenge that you have of writing different genres?
I think the only challenge is voice, because when I write historical, the voice is historical, but it's still me. I'm very direct, and you've met me. There's very little fluff. I say exactly what I'm thinking. I say it very bluntly, and so do my books. And maybe that doesn't appeal to everyone, but it's who I am, and it's all that I can write. So historical is actually harder because it's easier to be direct in a fantasy or a paranormal or contemporary, because people today are more direct. So it's harder for me to get into a historical voice. But now I've done all my books are above me here. I have all my covers on a rail above me. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 14 historical novels. So I'm good at it now, I think. But they're still direct. When I read other people's historicals, I think, gosh, I wish I could do that flowery voice, but I can't. So.
All right. So we're down to 10 minutes left, and that gives us time to do rapid fire questions. Okay. So these are questions that I ask you and that you don't think about too much. You just blurt it out.
Okay.
Are direct. What is your favorite writing fuel?
Coffee, then water.
Okay.
Coffee in the morning, then water.
Do you have to have still or sparkling?
Still.
Are you a pantser or a plotter?
I'm a plotter, but I'm not married to it, but I'm a plotter.
Okay. What is your favorite trope to read?
Paranormal.
Who's your favorite paranormal author or book?
Right now it's Karen Marie Moning. It's always whoever I'm reading right now.
It's like, who's your favorite child is your last book.
Exactly. The one that's closest to me, that's my favorite.
So what is your favorite trope to write as a writer?
Golly, I don't know. All I can think of is my least favorite, which is Secret
Okay.
Baby. I don't like Secret Baby. I feel like
Okay.
everybody gets cheated in Secret Baby, but I like Second Chance. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite. I like Second Chance novels.
But I like that we know what your least favorite is, because I agree. Secret babies are, yeah, no. Okay, if you were stuck in an elevator, who would you like to be with for the 45 minutes that it takes for them to get you out?
Okay, this is terrible, but I'm a huge baseball fan, and it's Kevin Kiermaier right now, because I don't know if you watch baseball at all, but Kevin Kiermaier with the Rays is a beautiful man. He's very nice to look at. So that's it right now. Very shallow.
Oh, would you just stare at him for the 45 minutes, or would you
Probably.
a little drooling is always good, right?
Very cute.
What is the favorite book you've read this year?
I read Discovery of Witches this year, and I loved
Oh.
them. I really loved them.
Did you read the whole series or just the first one?
No, I read the whole series.
The whole series. Do you watch the show on A&E?
I did watch the first season. Now, I watched it on some other channel.
AMC?
Yes, Access. I think it was on. I don't think I
Yeah.
got anyway. But then it's coming. The second season's coming out, I think, in January, and it's going to be on a different channel. So I'll have to subscribe to something else.
Well, we can give you advice on how to do this, because if you listened in earlier, we all have this thing of we wait till the shows all come out and then we get a free pass for a week and then we sit down and watch all of them.
Oh, yeah. See, that's smart. That's smart.
Yes.
I thought the series was really good, though. It followed the book almost exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Very close. And I really loved the books. I think she's kind of brilliant. Although I didn't like the book that came next, the fourth. It's not really part of the series, but it was in the same world.
And Matthew Good is just adorable.
Okay, can I put him in the elevator too?
You can have more than one guy in the elevator with you. Not a problem. Okay, what is something new that you've learned this year?
Oh, wow. Something new that I learned this year. I don't know. I learned lots of new things. I am the Google master. If we think it and we don't know it, we Google it immediately. I can't think of one specific thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And then we're getting down to the question, which is our name game, which we've asked everybody. So now you can take a deep breath and you can do it. So what is the book that you're reading right now?
I am reading Vanessa. Oh, I wrote it down when you all were talking because I knew it would come up. Vanessa Riley, A Duke, a Lady, and a Baby.
Oh, okay.
Very good so far.
Yeah.
And
what are you watching?
I don't watch a lot of television. We are watching the World Series right now. I probably will watch The Voice. We watch Deadliest Catch. We're not big TV watchers, and my husband doesn't like anything that isn't real-ish. So no, there's no fantasy, there's no paranormal. So I have to wait for him to go fishing, and then I binge on things like Discovery of Witches. But there are lots of shows that I'm sure all of you have seen and I've never seen.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Never seen Game of Thrones, not a single Game of Thrones. I know.
That's okay. I slept through most of it, and then I just watched the end, the last episode of each series, and it catches you all up, and people die, and it's like
Samantha is dying.
Samantha is having a fit. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. What are you listening to?
So I listen to books every morning when I walk, and I have gone back in time and I'm listening to Karen Marie Monning's To Tame a Highland Warrior. Because I never read the Highlander series. I read the Fever series, but I never read the Highlander series. So last week I decided to start that, and that's what I'm listening to.
And it's delightful, isn't it?
It is very, very good. And it's interesting to go back and see how her writing
Has
evolved.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Sarah Edmond says the Great Baking Show is real life. They're so good, and it's how I discovered her.
Who's
It's
her?
how you discovered who? Oh, Karen Marie Moning. Really?
Wow.
We'll have to get an explanation on that, because I can't get how Karen Marie and the Great Baking Show, what they have in common, but okay. All right, but our best question of all, the bonus question of all is, would you be a good spy?
Well, I can keep a secret forever. I am a terrible liar, like terrible. Like my husband wanted to surprise our friends that we moved across the street from, that we sold our old house, and we went to meet them, and he said, okay, just hold it together for like 5 minutes. And they said, did you sell it? And I went, so probably not so much with secrets, with, keeping my own, but I can keep your secrets, and I can't lie at all. So I'm thinking probably not. And also, I tend to be in my own head all the time, stories rolling around. So I kind of miss the world around me sometimes.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be a good spy, because you got
spy material.
Yeah. See, yeah, because it was all about that listening and observing and eavesdropping kind of thing that everybody else was saying they were good at. So yeah.
So probably not, because I'm like, they're fake people in my head, and I'm listening to them more than the real people in my life.
That's because they're noisier, the ones in your head, I think.
They are.
Yeah. Okay, so before we come to a conclusion of our recorded part, I'd love you to tell everybody where they can find you online.
Okay. You can find me at asfenichel.com. I'm on Twitter, asfenichel, at asfenichel, on Instagram at asfenichel, and on Facebook at asfenichel. I'm also on Pinterest on asfenichel, and I think that's it. Goodreads and BookBub, all on asfenichel.
Very good. You got it. You've got it straight. They only have to remember one thing and they can find you, right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I'm going to turn this off now. We really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you're sticking around to answer some of our questions. Okay.
I'm happy to.